Most builders don't have a cost problem, they have a decision problem. I'm gonna show you how to frame a house cheaper than 90% of other builders, just with some simple strategies and how we do it from start to finish. One of the big things is knowing what your demographical area is supposed to service. When you go in, most people don't even understand what they're gonna build, and they're always trying to reinvent the wheel. Look, allow the market to speak to you from start to finish. This is going to help you make a decision on what product you actually want, the amenities, the trim items, and everything within the frame package, because everything starts in the design phase with your draftsman or your architect. So the savings starts when you actually turn key on what you're going to build. And most people don't know what they're going to build because they don't understand that they have to allow the market to speak to them. And one of the things that most people don't do is they try to reinvent the wheel and say, I want a closet with a vanity inside of it, or I want these extra elevated ceilings in my master bedroom, and I want an RV garage right here, and all these added stuff. But does the market need that? Is the biggest question. And so when you start adding that stuff also compounds the cost and expense, or vice versa. People get conservative with the cost, so they start cutting things out, thinking that if they take little things out, it won't affect the resale value of the house. You can't do that. If you're running comps, you have to study what's selling for the lowest days on market and highest price per square foot. Super important. Now, once you find the houses that are selling the lowest days on market, highest price per square foot, you're going to simply duplicate the amenities. So for sake of example, if you're in Florida, if they're using accordion doors and the glass doors that extend your living room out to like a cool deck for the pool, for the swimming pool, well, you want to put yourself in a position where you go in and you take advantage of making sure that you put those type of doors in there. They have to be framed. You can't go in to your frame stage and decide that you missed the boat and start changing it, because now you have to change headers, buy structural lumber, and now your framing costs go up plus the change orders. So you want to know that stuff before. If you're someplace where the elevations and everybody has 10-foot ceilings throughout the houses and they have 14-foot ceilings in family rooms, you need to know that in the beginning, because you're going to duplicate that. You're not going to go in and do 10-foot ceilings throughout and then 8-foot ceilings in the rest of the house. You're going to go in and duplicate what's already being built and what's already being sold. You have to know what your windows look like. You have to know what your doors look like. You have to know what your trim out items are. You're not going to add extra trim out items and it cost you extra money on the back end. If they have fireplaces, bump outs for televisions, you need to know on the front end. So everything starts on the communication with your draftsman and with your architect. Now, if you're building or you're even planning to build, this part will save you thousands of dollars. When I sit down with the architect, I communicate and I show pictures of every amenity that is in the homes that are selling. When we go in and we start the architecture and we start working with the draftsman specifically and the architect, one of the things that I like to do is make sure that I go through it and I redline everything in the plans. Typically, this is before we go to what's called technical drawings, because once it's in technical drawings, now you have to move light fixtures, you have to move receptacles on the drawings, and it changes the way walls are moved, the way the structural components of the footings are done. So while you're actually laying out the house, you want to make sure that before you go to the elevations and the technical drawings, you want to be able to have a layout that makes sense compared to other products that are on the market. So one of the big things is knowing what those items are that you've studied beforehand, redlining them, and then conveying that over to the architect. This is going to go into the field once you go in. What most people don't realize is that most framers don't charge you based on amenities unless you change them in the field. So the more diligent you are before you get to the field with a set of prints for your framers to frame, the more diligent you're going to be as far as your costs are concerned. And it's also going to save you money with your delivery costs, and it's also going to save you money with your overall lumber package. Okay, now there's 5 different components once we're in the field that you have to pay attention to. 5 different components, okay? One is waste. So how do we mitigate waste? And then I'm going to start off from, in no order of importance, but I'm going to start off from the ones from the outside moving in. One of the things I always tell people, to save $2,000 to $3,000 in wasted lumber, never bring out a roll-away dumpster until after you're done framing the house. I love having the excess lumber to utilize for backing. We're talking 2-foot pieces of lumber. And if you take a 14-foot stick of lumber and you cut it up, that lumber piece is not good for utilizing for bracing or for long extensions of walls and ceiling heights. You're going to land up needing cut-up lumber anyway. So we call the scrap lumber usable lumber. It's brand new lumber. It's not cheap lumber or subpar lumber. It's just lumber that you would otherwise throw in the trash, and then you have to cut up a long piece of lumber. And you'd be surprised when you're building a house that's $1 million home, $800,000 home, there's a lot of backing that's going for barn doors, for light fixtures, for recess cans, for plumbing fixtures, for heating and cooling fixtures. There's a lot of backing and support that need to go in for bracings around skylights and a lot of the fixtures. And so where your drywall is going to attach and where you don't have backing, all that scrap lumber can get utilized. But one of the biggest problems, if you throw all that in the dumpster, you land up ordering 42 by 4s here, 62 by 6s there, more sheeting and more lumber that you wouldn't otherwise have, which lands up resulting in about a $2,000 to $3,000 increase in overall framing material costs that lands up putting downward pressure on your finished cost. So you have to make sure that you don't have a rollaway dumpster. Require your framers to utilize all the lumber. It's all good lumber. It's not scrap lumber. You're not building a generic house. I had somebody comment that one time when I mentioned this in another video, and I said, that's not bad lumber. This is brand new lumber. Utilize it. Take advantage of utilizing everything. Okay, that's from the outside coming in. Now, most people don't realize that the framers charge by the price per square foot to frame your home. So once you go in and if you start making change orders while you're actually framing the house and it's not on your plans, then the framers are going to have your price per square foot, but then they're also going to start pinging you for change orders because those change orders take them time and they cost money and their labor, their money, and they're going to make a profit on it. So it's very important that you convey to them on the front end any type of change orders or any type of front end materials, labor, and amenities that are going to go in there that are not on the plans that maybe you forgot. So really important to review. Now, one of the things that we do is we keep our plans very consistent throughout all our homes. Because the demographics hit a very finite area in the market, we stay with that. If the market changes where we're going, we'll change minute areas that mitigate any type of major changes or cost variances to the framing and overall expense of building the house. If you want to learn the exact strategy of how to buy the right piece of land in the right area to build a house, if you want to learn the exact strategy that I've been utilizing for almost 3 decades, then text me the word land at 505-560-0520. Let's go ground up. Let's buy land. Let's build houses. And let's start right now. Now, one of the things that we'll do when we go into areas that are less affluent is we'll lower the ceiling height. So instead of going maybe with 10-foot ceilings throughout, we'll go with 9-foot ceilings throughout. The family rooms, we always typically do 14-foot ceilings in our big build homes. But when we go into a market that's otherwise a little bit more compressed, we'll go with 12-foot ceilings to save on the overall height of the house and the overall stress on the lumber cost. It saves on sheeting, it saves on stucco or exterior veneer, it saves on lumber, and it saves on labor. And so one of the big things is putting yourself in a position where you go in and you actually know what product you're building from the front end as you go into the frame stage. Now, we're going to convey to the framers everything that's on the plans, and we're going to disclose that. So if you have outdoor kitchens going in, have that stuff on the prints. If you have ceilings that are drop-down ceilings, have that stuff on the prints. If you're going to do accent windows or accent features within the house, where there's like picture windows or pot windows and stuff, put that stuff on the prints. If you're going to do beams or you're going to do extra items that are not otherwise on the prints as trim items that would otherwise beautify the home, put that stuff on the prints. Because when the framers actually look at that, what ends up happening is they typically give you a price per square foot. So if their price per square foot to frame the house is $7 or $8 a square foot, and then they tell you that the garages are $3 or $4 a square foot, you have a fixed cost on everything, provided you've given them the prints, you've given them the plans, and you put yourself in a position to be able to take advantage of what's already been disclosed to them. Once it's been disclosed, they give you the price. That's the price. And if they miss it on the plans, that's on them. It was in there, you got the price, and that'll ultimately save you on your overall finished cost of construction. Now, let's talk about the lumber company, because the lumber company is a big component. Anything that you miss on those prints is going to be missed by the actual lumber supply company. You have to order your trusses in advance. You have to have your materials in advance. The day that you turn dirt on that slab and you're going to start your pre-slab, your trusses need to be ordered. Typically nationwide, it's a 6-week wait time for trusses to be constructed and built. You want to put yourself in a position where they're waiting for you to have the trusses delivered, vice versa, you waiting for them. Because if the walls go up and then your crew disappears because you have no trusses for them, it's going to cost you downward pressure on time and labor. Because now they have to come back and reorganize, and you may have to wait 2 weeks for them to finish another house to be fully framed before they come back to your house because you weren't prepared. So make sure that you're fully prepared. Another note is you have to have your windows ordered the second that you pour that foundation. Again, it's a 3 to 6 week lag time for windows. So make sure those windows are ordered. I'd much rather have them at the supply house waiting for me than vice versa. Now, when we talk up to suppliers, I love companies like Home Depot and Lowe's because yes, they can save you money on the overall cost of lumber, but they don't carry 90% of the beams and some of the other lumber that you're going to need to be able to facilitate that build. And because they don't have that on their actual inventory list, you can't get 100% of your lumber package from Home Depot or Lowe's. It's very important to know that. So you're going to have to source to a third party. So if you're reviewing your bids and your bid comes in $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 less on the lumber package, it's not because they're saving $3,000 to $5,000. It's because $3,000 of that cost is not in that bid. The other $2,000 might be a savings, but the other $3,000 is missing material. And if you show up and the material's not there with your framers, then again, just like the trusses, you'll end up having these framers leave because now you have to wait to source and get the lumber there, and they lose either half a day, 2 days, 3 days, and it frustrates them. Otherwise, they land up nickel and diming and charging you for the expense it costs them for you not being prepared. In relation to that, you have to be prepared. You have to be in constant communication with your framers. Your framers every day are going to need little items. They're going to need clips. They're going to need hangers for their trusses. They're going to need extra sheeting material for the walls. They're going to need extra decking material for the roof. They're going to need extra studs for the framing, for accent features. If they're missing little components, you need to have that stuff delivered out quickly. One of the ways to save is we'll typically get one list. So instead of sending out 5, 6, 7, 8 orders, we'll do a list, and then we'll have the entire list get shipped out, because a lot of the lumber companies will ship for free unless it's a really small order. Then they'll nickel and dime you at $50 to $75 delivery fees, and those $50 to $75 over the course of a home, they add up, and they add up fast, and it otherwise comes from your bottom line profitability because you're being wasteful. So make sure that you're being very efficient in communication with your framers to bring down the overall cost of lumber. Now, let's go back to the Home Depot thing. When we go in and we talk about lumber, guys, it is super important that if you have a lumber house that specializes in new builds, utilize them, because by the time you balance out lost time, lost labor, by the time you balance out delivery fees and the convenience of having a lumber house that has everything in store, you can save time and money just on that element in itself. So be sure that you use a lumber company that specializes in new build, ground up construction, and a supply company that has all components available for order at your availability. Now, some of the big beams, like the beams and wood structural stuff, you need to make sure you order that stuff in advance as well. But 90% of the time, you're going to have the vast majority of that stuff in stock, in-house, at the lumber company to take advantage of every time you call them. Now, a lot of times I'll have a pickup truck, or my employees, if my framers are waiting for something that's crucial that we forgot, I'll just simply run down, throw in the back of a pickup truck, and take it down to them. But 99.9% of the time, I'm not a delivery person. I'm not going to run that lumber to them. But if I have to, I will. But I'll make sure that they have what they need on site. And we always order 24 to 48 hours in advance to save them time and money, ultimately saving you time and ultimately saving you on your bottom line money. These seem like simple, common sense variables that 90% of people forget that are building homes and framing them. Understand that these small concepts alone will save you in excess of $5,000 to $10,000 both in labor and materials on every single build. At the end of a build, you make catastrophic mistakes that start from the framing, you're going to land up being $20,000 less in profitability because of common sense items that, yes, seem common sense, but 90% of builders forget about. Ladies and gentlemen, for more building tips to save, profit, and successfully take buying dirt and building houses to a successful place, click and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Pound that thumbs up button. Give us some love. Comment down below if you're watching this on repeat, #repeat. And until next time, go out and compound your success.